It is the end of the year. I no longer feel like cooking, so today we are going to answer 10 of the internet's most commonly asked cooking questions. I definitely didn't think this up like 5 minutes ago. And let's kick things off with, how do you boil eggs perfectly? Now, to start, I wouldn't boil them for perfect boiled eggs. My favorite way of cooking boiled eggs is by filling up a pot. To start, I'll grab a pot, I will fill it with hot water, I'll bring it up to a boil, then I'll turn the water off. I'll add a couple eggs to the inside of the pot. I will put the lid on and then I will cook it for about 6 to 7 minutes for soft-boiled eggs, and then in between like 10 and 11 minutes for hard-boiled eggs. I find that the white becomes like a lot more tender. I just prefer the texture of it, and everything's a lot more like delicately cooked. It's really nice. A lot harder to like mess it up once you get the times right, but everything, all times and temperatures will kind of depend a little bit by like 1 or 2 minutes based on the size of your pot, how hot the water is, etc, etc. Next question. How long should I cook chicken? Now, I'm not going to give you a time, cook it until it's cooked through. And that sounds like kind of a douchebag answer, but basically you're looking for an internal temperature of about 60 degrees. Use a probe thermometer. So something like this guy, I'd say a minimum of 60 degrees Celsius. And that's not even what the FDA recommends. That's what some dumb chef on the internet recommends. But that's my preferred cooking temperature for nice, tender cooked chicken breast. I think the FDA recommends up to like 70 degrees Celsius, which for me is like a little overcooked, but for something like roast chicken, that's just fine. If you want a more in-depth answer, I have a short form video that I'll link to in my description that covers how to cook chicken breast perfectly, chicken thighs and legs perfectly. It's really great. You should check that out. Okay, next question. What is the difference between baking soda and baking powder? Great question. Now, both of these ingredients are used in baking and pastry as leavening agents. They make air inside of foods to make it light and fluffy. Now, there are some similarities. Baking soda is an alkali. It requires an acidic ingredient to be used with it to make these bubbles. An acid and an alkali react, they give off water and bubbles, whatever, not important. Baking soda will not do anything unless there's buttermilk, there's lemon juice, there's anything acidic inside of the recipe to make these bubbles. Now, baking powder is a little bit more complex. It contains baking soda, bicarbonate of soda, sodium bicarbonate as an ingredient. Sodium bicarbonate, maybe, we'll fact check. So it contains baking soda as an ingredient, but it also contains, I believe, citric acid usually. So when you add water to this, it has both the acid and the alkali that are required to make bubbles. So to answer the question quickly, there is baking soda inside baking powder, and that can be used by itself, but baking soda requires an acidic ingredient to actually make bubbles and things happen. Next question, and I love this question because I have done a ton of these. How to make fluffy pancakes. Now, the secret to the fluffiness inside of the pancakes come from aeration. So you can either resort to baking soda and baking powder, which is what we just mentioned, which is a very common ingredient in fluffy pancakes. But what I like to do to add even more fluffiness and even more like airiness and lightness is when I have my eggs, I'll split them into yolks and whites. I'll heavily whip the whites so that they're nice and fluffy, and I'll gently fold that into my batter. It's okay to leave a few lumps of these whites. You don't want to like develop a lot of gluten or whatever, but this will add a lot of like leavening and lightness. If you are a vegan or follow a plant-based diet, you can whip up aquafaba, which is just like chickpea water. Again, I just made a video. I have a bunch of pancake videos. I'll leave some links. Check the description. Okay, next question. How do I cook rice so it doesn't stick and burn? Okay, so there's a multi-part to this. Number one, rinse your rice. It will have less like starch around it. That will typically make it stick a little bit less. But the main thing that you want to do here is just cook it for the right amount of time. Now, if I was cooking my rice in a pot, what would I do? Now, typically, for like really simple, plain steamed rice, I would add rice to a pot. I would top it up with usually equal parts or just over equal parts of water. If you put your hand inside of the water, you want to be feeling the rice and the water layer to come just above your hand or like your knuckles. It's like a common way of testing if you have enough water. Then what you want to do is bring that up to the boil. Well, season it however you want, maybe some oil, maybe some salt, maybe some spices, whatever. Bring that up to a boil, put the lid on, and then either put it into an oven set to 180 degrees and leave that cook for 15 minutes, or keep it on the lowest heat on the hob and let that cook for 15 minutes. Perfectly cooked rice. Alternatively, buy a rice cooker. They're great. They make your life super easy. One of my favorite appliances. Next question. What a great question. And this is how to cook pasta properly. I would imagine more people would have watched my how to cook perfect pasta video if the internet is really asking this question a lot. But it's okay. I'm not hurt. Only has like 200 views. That's fine. I put a lot of work and effort into it. That's okay. I also have a full pasta course online. You can check the link in the description for that. But again, tangential. How to cook perfect pasta. Plenty of boiling salted water, use good quality pasta, give it a mix as soon as you add it to the pot so that nothing sticks together. The better quality pasta you use, the better result you're going to get. Use something artisanal that was extruded from a bronze die. Remove the pasta from the cooking water like 2 minutes before the packet actually recommends, and finish cooking your pasta inside of the sauce for that nice, creamy, rich luxuriousness. Add a little bit of pasta water as you're making that sauce. Bada bing, bada bam. Pasta. Please watch the full video, please. Check out the course if you really want to support this channel. That would be great too. Next question. How do you make homemade pizza dough? Okay, I am not the best person to ask for this because my knowledge of like doughs and baking isn't the best. But I have a really super easy and cheaty way of making pizza dough. I basically took a no-knead focaccia dough that makes an amazing pan pizza. I'll leave the recipe as well inside of the description. And basically all this is flour, water, yeast, salt, and a little drizzle of olive oil. You mix everything together, you leave it covered overnight in the fridge. If it's like kind of hot out, you can leave it there for like 24 hours would be great. Pull it out. Give it like a little folding and put it on the dish that you're going to be baking. Drizzle that bad boy with olive oil, put your pizza, smush it out, leave it for like 2 hours, or I might be wrong. Check out the video, check out the video, just check it. But yeah, that's basically pizza dough. Then put on your like sauce and toppings and cheese and cook. Watch the video for specifics. How do I thicken sauces or soups? Now, there's a million ways to thicken sauces or soups. The easiest that I would say that I resort to when I'm in a pinch or in a hurry or like I really just need something thick fast is make a slurry of corn flour. So get corn flour, cornstarch, put like a couple teaspoons inside of a bowl, add a little bit of water, just enough to mix everything together and make like a thin paste. And then you want to incorporate this into your whatever you're cooking, your soup, your stew, anything. Bring it up to the boil because that's what it's going to take to gelate those starches and allow them to do their thickening thing. Once you've brought it up to the boil, cook it for like a minute and you've got like nice thick sauce, soup, stew, whatever. I would also suggest adding a little bit of your slurry at a time because you're not really sure how much it's good, like so that it doesn't get too thick too fast. And it's the easiest way to thicken a sauce or a soup or something like that. This one's really easy. What temperature is medium rare steak? I know this off the top of my head. A medium rare steak is 54 degrees. If you are cooking the steak and you are temping it, I would probably pull it off the heat at like 50 degrees, 51 degrees, let it rest for like 5-10 minutes, and by that point you should be at a really nice 54 degrees medium rare. To temp a piece of meat, what I like to do is, if the piece of meat is this thick, I'll get my thermometer and just like see how much halfway through is and put my finger there. I'll put my thermometer inside the thickest part of the meat, and that is how I will know that the thickest part of the meat is 54 degrees. And now for our final question. Oh, that's kind of easy. How do I keep avocados from turning brown? If you do want to prevent avocados from going brown, and this kind of goes for a lot of things, you need to mitigate a few key factors. Number one is mitigate oxygen. So if you have like guacamole or a halved avocado, you can either press like cling film against it, and that should help. It won't be amazing because this will be oxygen underneath it. You could vacuum seal them, but you're going to crush avocados, so no. You can cover them with a little bit of olive oil. That will prevent a waterproof layer on the surface of the avocado, and that's a pretty good way of stopping it from browning. An acidic environment also helps it to stop from browning, so rubbing some like lime juice or something on top of it. If you have like guacamole, like drizzle either a layer of olive oil or like put some lime juice on top, like contact cling film it, which is what chefs refer to when they cover something with cling film and they push down on it or create like an airtight seal. Like it's a good move. That was a fun little quick fire. I'm sorry we didn't get like a full cooking video, but Christmas has been kind of crazy and I have kind of a headache today. But I'm glad we did this. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'm sorry if my energy levels have not been the same. I'm feeling a little tired and a little headachy, but I will continue to make a video every week. I'll see you in the new year. I have a ton of great ideas. I really want to help you guys like really help people cook and like get better at cooking, and that is my like big goal for next year. But speaking of goals, I think I'll be talking a lot about that next week before we get into a whole bunch of really cool cooking content into the new year. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one in the next year. Bye for now. Have a good one. Bye. Peace. Bye. 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 Sweet release.